Welcome to Fans First, a sports podcast where your voice matters most. Hosted by Hall of Fame sportscaster Jim Powell. This is the show that puts fans at the heart of the conversation. Whether you're cheering in the stands, screaming at the TV, or debating with friends about the latest trades, Fans First is here to amplify your thoughts, your insights, and your love for the game.
Welcome to Fans First, a sports podcast. My name is Jim Powell. I am proud and honored to be your host today, and we've got a very special somewhat baseball-oriented program with a little mixture of some other community service and other goals that our guests have set for themselves and for a lot of young people who could use some mentoring and some experience before they get thrown into the middle of the swimming pool called life. We're joined today by John Hollins, who is the director and CEO of Atlanta Metro RBI, and his son Jordan Hollins is also with us. Fine baseball player in his own right until he, I believe you pulled a labrum, tore a labrum, swinging the bat. Yeah. Sorry about that. Cut short your professional career, but now you're on to something much bigger and much better than that, and that is trying to inspire young people in Metro Atlanta and elsewhere to pay attention to their academics, to learn how to live a disciplined life and be ready to move on forward in their coming chapters in life. Is that pretty much what y'all's goals are?
That's it.
So my question first is, because a lot of people probably aren't totally familiar with your organization. So what is Atlanta Metro RBI? Why and how was it founded, and what's its purpose?
Thought you'd never ask. ATL Metro RBI, we founded it. My father was a police officer and would go into neighborhoods in DeKalb County, Kirkwood. It wasn't an upscale community back then. It was adjacent to East Lake Meadows, was a project housing project. And he would go and get kids and take them up to DeKalb Memorial and teach them baseball as much as he possibly could. As a kid, I didn't understand the significance of it. He started the first football program at East Lake Meadows, which was over at a park, Mark Trail Park. And I didn't know the significance of what it was. And when he passed away, I said, I'm going to start a baseball program to help kids like my dad did in honor of him. And I started that. My kids were fortunate to go to Padilla School, which is a private school in Atlanta. And they had some of the luxuries of life, but many of these other kids did not. And I grew up not having those things. And so I had an understanding of what that was like and what a difference it made in my life. But I had no idea what an impact we would make in other kids' lives. And so because this is not a 5-hour show, I'm going to try to bring it in a nutshell. We've touched over 350 kids to go on to college. Most of them are first-time college students. We've seen 27 of them go on to play professional baseball. 2 Rookie of the Years, Kyle Lewis, 2020, and Michael Harris, 2022. We partnered with some notable people out in the marketplace that you may have heard of. Marquise Grissom was a big help in starting my RBI program because he would bring 4 teams to the table to help me put this together. And we collectively were able to help a lot of kids be able to do what they do. But then we realized after we had so much success, our illustrious Atlanta Braves felt like it was time to go in a different direction. And we were fine with that. They wanted Marquise to take over the RBI program. And we had to look in the mirror and find out what is our real purpose. Is it for kids to play baseball, or is it mentoring and getting them into school? And we knew what our real purpose was. So we said that we would continue to support the RBI program, but it was time for us to break away and do what we do on our own. And we've been successful over those last 4 years to help over 35 kids go to college. And we do that by developing them throughout the summer and throughout the fall. Through that process, my son was playing ball, and I was traveling to Florida to see him play in the JUCO World Series out in Colorado two years in a row. where he won 2 national championships. And looking at him, and I'm thinking his career is going to go on, and am I going to continue to do this? And God always has a way of stepping in and telling you what's best. And once he hurt himself and he was rehabbed and wasn't able to get back on with another professional team, I thought maybe it's coming to an end and I would move on with the other chapter in my life. But he said, Dad, I'm not going to go to law school like my oldest son. He played ball and then went on to law school, and he's an attorney with the city of Atlanta. He said, I want to continue to help people in baseball. I want to do what you've done, and I want to do it full time. And so he and I collectively looked for a location. We found a place. We wanted it to be in South DeKalb. We wanted it to be in an area where economically kids can afford to play travel ball, can afford to play at the highest level, are not getting the necessary training. And I'm talking medium kids. I'm not talking about the top dogs. The top dogs get recruited by the top programs in East Cobb, the top programs here, even some of the ones that I've mentioned, they go after the top dogs. But I was a mediocre kid at 11 and 12. But my senior year in high school, I led the state in ERA, and I was 3rd in batting average. And I realized that hard work and time can develop a player. And so we want to give him a chance to play baseball. And I'll wrap this up and let him talk and jump in. My co-captain in college, I went to Georgia State University, and my co-captain was a scout and I told him, I gave him a hard time saying, why are you guys not drafting more black ball players? Why are you not? He said, John, don't give me a hard time. He said, we need more people like you to get in the community and teach them the game. He said, it's really raw. He said, there are not a lot of coaches out there like when you were around. And I realized that baseball was a game passed down from father to son. And unfortunately, in the households of many African Americans, 70%, according to the Nielsen, the ratings, 70% of African American households are single parent moms. And so somebody has to come in and actually teach the skill game. Baseball, unlike basketball and football, is a skill game enhanced by athleticism. The other two are athleticism enhanced by skill. So if you have the athleticism, we can teach you the skill shortly and you're okay. But baseball, you can be the fastest guy in the world, but you can't steal first base. You can throw 100 miles an hour, but you got to throw it over the plate. So there's skills, mechanics, different things that have to be taught. So we decided to start teaching those things the right way in our community, giving kids an opportunity to hone in on the skills. Now we have an indoor hitting facility in South DeKalb on Covington Highway, where we host over 75 kids coming in and training. And I'll stop here, but our biggest challenge before we get off on this call is funding, because we spend so much time actually on the field and not knocking on doors asking for donations that we don't have the funding that a lot of programs have, because we spend so much time actually training. So Jordan does the majority of the training. I'll let him talk about his efforts, what he's been able to do, his accomplishments, and what motivates him, to inspires him to continue to do what he do. So go ahead, Jordan.
Well, thank you, Jim, as well, for having us on this platform and just giving us the chance to be able to spread our message. Ultimately, that's our biggest goal. We always kind of say it. We want to give back the lessons of baseball and softball to the youth, but also be able to give those goals or those lessons that you learn through baseball and softball that relate to life. And so that's kind of how my life came about. And it's just so funny how it worked that way. I played throughout the organization, went to high school in Atlanta, went on to go play at Chipola, like he mentioned. And then Texas Southern, Ottawa, COVID happened. A lot of different things in life happened. And the things you learn through baseball is nothing is ever promised any day. Anything can happen to you. And you kind of just got to roll with the punches and just see how, you're going to get through it. How are you going to overcome that? So after I finished playing, I ended up playing pro ball and tore my labrum. Like he said, I just wanted to come back and give back to my community immediately. I had a couple other passions and loves, and I got my degree, and I, could have went into a bunch of other fields. But once I came back and started coaching, the passion of helping the kids and seeing them kind of learn through my failures and what I did wrong and see them grow from that, it just took over everything else. And then after that, coaching was the easy part. So it was just through that. So now my focus is giving lessons, giving about 5 to 8 lessons a day, depending on the day, as well as coaching 3 different teams. And we're growing through that process as well. So every day is a new day, and we're trying to figure out how we can better ourselves as well as the young men and women that we mentor every day. And so once again, your platform has given us a great chance, and just getting our word out there and spreading our love with everybody else, and just trying to get that connection from individual to individual, because that's what we're about.
And Jim, don't let him underestimate his ability to coach. He's won a PBR championship at Lake Point. He's won a perfect game championship in Gulf Shores. And just the other week, he went to Alabama and came in second in the Minority Baseball Prospect All-American tournament. So Jordan does an excellent job in coaching. The kids really respond to him. They play for him, kind of like a Bobby Cox. The kids love playing for Jordan. And as we know in the pros, the players love playing for Bobby Cox. And a great coach sometimes is somebody who has a handle on all the X and O's. And I think I fall in that category pretty good. But championships are won by players, not by coaches. And so when you can get guys to play above their ability or up to their ability because they trust you and you trust them, that's a gift. And he's blessed with that gift. They play for him. From the younger levels to the higher levels, they look and go like Coach Jordan, and they really look forward to him being there.
Well, you two fine gentlemen, I can tell you're both huge sports fans, of course, obviously baseball fans, but you also, you keep stressing the power of the mentorship aspect of this. It's not just about baseball. How do you balance trying to prepare the kids for going on to a successful life versus trying to make them great baseball players? Can you do both at the same time?
Well, I believe you can. Mentoring is not it's not a job as much as coaching can become a job. Mentoring is a way of life, and teaching the principles that I was raised by my father of doing what is right by God. Michael Harris is one of our players that played with us, and he and I will have a conversation about once a month, and the conversation is strictly about God, family, and everything else will fall in the steps of our Father. GFE. If you ever talk to him, you say GFE, you'll see a big smile on his face, and he'll say Coach John, because that's important. And I'm proud to tell you that it's passed down. In 2017, I was honored by Barack Obama as a Lifetime Achievement Award for community service. Unbeknown to my son, people outside of the realm who have the authority to choose these people will find people who are doing things in the community over a 5-year period or more, making a difference in kids' lives or communities. And then they nominate them and they turn their name into the White House. And Biden's administration last year or this year honored Jordan as a Lifetime Achievement Award for Presidential Award for Community Service. So our mentoring is being seen by others that we don't even know and didn't know existed as a part of it, because it is the forefront of what we do. It's our priority.
Well, it's important work, that's for sure. And I know you're helping a lot of kids along the way, and you're doing it through the vehicle of baseball. So what is it about baseball that fits in nicely as a vehicle to help these kids moving forward, not just through successful baseball careers, hopefully professional careers at some point, but if not, successful lives? What is it about baseball that you find, maybe the lessons you learn from the sport, that make it a perfect vehicle for you two?
I think baseball is the perfect sport because it is a sport of failure, and life is a failing cycle that you have to learn how to get through and try something new, and then you'll get over that one obstacle that you kept failing in. And baseball is the same way. You're going to have to keep hitting in the cage. You might go 0 for 3, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, but just because you struck out doesn't mean you can't wake up the next day, go to the cage, prepare the same way, and expect to do better the next game. And it's the same way about life. You have to wake up the same exact way with the same exact passion, or you're going to lose that day. So no matter how you look at it, there's always another day, and you'll always wake up with a better opportunity. And I believe with our connection with the kids, since we have that same level of passion for the sport of baseball and for the game itself, it's very easy to kind of connect on them on that level because they already are bought into what they want to do. It's just learning on how to do that at the higher level and how to be able to take it and run with it in your life. How can I apply this to be a better young man, a better young woman, a better son, a better daughter? So at the end of the day, if we can be able to continue to tie the sport into life, I don't think it's very difficult to be able to relate with them because they kind of bring the energy themselves.
I absolutely love your fixation on failure in baseball and what you can learn from that to overcome, because a lot of people can't play baseball because they go 0 for 3 and they're done. Like they want to throw the bat and walk off the field. I was probably one of those kids myself at some point. So
look at you now.
Yeah.
Look at you now. Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, something that we do that's a little different than a lot of programs. Because of that, we encourage our parents to trust the process, and we play up. Our job is not to win tournaments. We don't need trophies so we can make a lot of money off of kids and travel ball. We play up so that they can handle adversity at the highest level. And when they get 16 and 17, the adversity begins to dawn on. They become very recruitable because now at 13, they were playing against 15, at 14, at 16. And so we do that. And what that's done is given us an opportunity to not create false hope, but in the same sense, create a competitor. Somebody who has that lion competitiveness because he's having to scrap all the time. And I learned that works better. I got a call from a notable coach, won a national championship, and he wanted to know what we had. And I said, how do you know me? And he said, John, we go to the coaches meetings and they talk about you. Your kids compete, and I need kids to compete. I sign kids to some of these top programs, and they're used to getting the ball down the middle. The umpires give them all the calls. The coaches pick them up and bring them back wherever they want. They promise them playing time. And I get here thinking I got the best player, and he's waiting for me to tell him when he's going to start in the freshman. So we find that playing up, teaching them to compete, teaching them the aspects of the failure of the game, and I'll make it in a nutshell. One of our kids who I love to death, he's doing well right now as a freshman. His name is Trey Calloway. He's at Missouri playing in the SEC. And at 13, he went to Cooperstown and hit about 12 or 13 home runs. And I told his dad, that's great. I said, do you want him to be a great little league player, or do you want him to one day get paid from this game? He said, well, I'd love him to. I said, then he needs to play up. And unfortunate to that call, the first game he played in, he faced a kid that was 15 throwing 87 that had signed from Tennessee. And so he struck out 3 times. And I found out he had never struck out all last year, the year before that. And that really hurt him because he was like, oh, my God, I can't play. But he overcame that and now became the player of the year for Henry County, one of the top players in the state, ranked 9th in the nation, did so well, 3.7 GPA, because we stress academics. We have a coding class here where our 9th and 10th graders come and they take gaming, learning how to create games such as Fortnite or basketball or baseball, the coding aspects, because we're trying to develop them all the way around. And we understand that technology is the future. Even though AI is taking over in a lot of areas, somebody has to program AI. Somebody has to be a part of that. And so we do that. And we're fortunate to partner with a hedge fund company out of New York that pays for the laptops, pays for the training, and it's all free for the kids. And so we do that to make sure that they are grounded. We make sure that ACT and SAT prep is important in their lives to prepare for standardized testing. Our average GPA last year for our seniors was 3.5. African-American men in a society where only 40% of us graduate from high school. So we understand that, academics, and success has no color bearing. It has no culture bearing. It just has an access to resources. And if those access to resources are there, then all people can be successful. So we try to make sure that those access to resources are there so we can continue to uplift the kids academically and athletically.
All right, we've got time for a couple more questions, guys. I could go on with this conversation like all day and all night. I'm loving it. I love your approach to everything. But I do want to ask you about your November 10th event that you've got coming up in Decatur off Covington Highway, the local Black Legends of Baseball. I know you all care a lot about the people who laid the groundwork to allow people like you to be able to reach these kids and to teach baseball and all that. Tell us about that event coming up in November.
It was kind of a brainchild of mine. I really wanted to honor those in the community that had played baseball, that grew up in this community, that helped coach at Gresham Park, where I grew up playing baseball, and many of the other, Michael Harris, Quincy Carter, I can go on and on. And so I wanted to make sure that people knew, because if the kids know their history, sometimes it makes their future a little bit stronger. A lot of times we don't know our history, and so we sometimes repeat those mistakes. So having them come in and talk about their love for the game, why they played with limited resources, why they still love the game, and why, and what are some of the greatest memories. One of our guys, Ron Smith, played with Satchel Paige. And so what was some of the fun memories of playing with Satchel Paige? And he was with the San Francisco Giants, left after being released from there. And I think he left. I'm not sure his story, but he started playing with Satchel Paige in one of the most memorable times. And when they did the reenactment over at Riverwood in Alabama, they called him to come over, and he and many other Negro League players were honored. And one of the things that he's so proud of right now is Major League Baseball reenacted his pension. And so they gave him a pension for all the years that he played professional baseball, which was awesome and amazing. Another one of the members is Robert Mitchell. Robert Mitchell coached at Morehouse when they had no scholarships, no field, and he and the athletic director, who I played with, Andre Patilla, made it possible to reenact and bring baseball back to Morehouse. And they played over at a park field that wasn't that great, but they did everything possible to give an opportunity of baseball to those kids. And he did that for over 15 years. He also played professionally and also in the islands as well. So he was one. And the other one is Bert Strain. I hold Bert Strain responsible for me still being in baseball. He came over, he was a batting instructor for the East Cobb Astros and then the Titans up in East Cobb. And he came and saw me and he said, "Man, I want to help a program like yours." He's a 3-time drafted ball player, scouted for 2 professional teams, knows everybody, introduced me to Vida Blue before he passed, which was my childhood idol. And he just had so much energy at 70, now he's 75. He just has so much energy and passion for the game. And it reminded me of why I love this game so much. Watching him, he's like a 22-year-old, just loves it. And then last but not least, Greg Goodwin is the father of DeKalb County baseball. He was at Redan High School, and Redan has put more African Americans in high school and professional baseball than any other high school in the nation. But not only that, he's created a legacy for Redan baseball and for DeKalb baseball. He has a program called MVP, Most Viable Prospects. My son, oldest, was one of the inaugural players that played with Jason Hayward, and what was the first round draft pick overall from Griffin? I can't say his name now. He had a name similar to the guy who played from Westminster, but they both have the similar names. But anyway, he just started this program, and now every year the top African-American ball players get a chance to come and do that. And these guys can tell stories and can be honored for all the stuff that they've done for baseball and for baseball for young men of color who ordinarily may not gravitate towards the sport had it not been for their legacy and for what they've done. So we're going to give them the opportunity to talk about that, and then talk about the things of baseball that they like, the new differences, the analytical things that are involved, and the things they don't like, and things that kids can do now that don't have the resources because they didn't have the resources to improve their game. Running things, hitting off a tee, hitting the ball up out of your hand, whatever it may be. But you got to love the game enough. You know, I saw something where a kid hits the ball out of his hand. He hits it, goes and get it, hits and goes and get it down out in Iowa in a farm town. And that's how he got good, because he was passionate enough. He got in shape running back and forth and hit the ball. Whatever the case is, what did the old guys do that make them love this game so much? The reason why we're able to see it, love it, and play it now.
Well, I know Sam Crenshaw is going to be a big part of your event coming up in November as well. Someone that I know pretty well, and you know really well. So that's going to be a great event, November 10th, 2 to 4 p.m. in Decatur off Covington Highway. Congratulations on everything you're doing. I want to ask you also, what can the viewers and listeners of this program, what can they do to help your program? How do they get in touch with you, and how can they help?
I'm glad you asked. That's if they go to Atlanta Metro RBI.org, and there's a donation page. Whatever donation they can give, every little bit goes towards the program. We're a 501c3. You know, he runs the program. This is our operation guy. I work for Atlanta News First in order to generate enough money so I can put back into the program. But he and many of the other coaches, they're on the ground, boots on the ground, doing the work. So anything people can do. And if you have a kid, a daughter or a son that wants to train and get better, please reach out to us. Phone numbers are on that website as well. Reach out to us. Let's see if we can work something out. We're very, very affordable for private lessons, for team training. And then we have teams that we put together as well. So we just want to help people get better at the game that has given both of us a better life and that we love. And go Braves. Always go Braves.
Always. I grew up with them as well. So we've got that in common also. So thank you so much, guys, for coming on and sharing your journey and your goals and your aspirations, and the way you're helping these young men and women is really, really impressive. I really appreciate you spending some time with us, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you so much, Jim.
John, Jordan, God bless you both. Well, a little bit of a different kind of show today. We had a great time talking with John Hollins and his son, Jordan Hollins, about the work they're doing to both, make people love baseball. I'm all in favor of that, but also make them get prepared for real life, whether they end up being professional players or not. Love the work they're doing. I hope that anybody that's watched or listened to this podcast can jump in, go to their website as they described it earlier, and look to help them out. I want to thank you and everyone for joining us for today's episode of Fans First, a sports podcast. Hey, don't forget about our Fans First website at fansfirstpodcast.com to be included as a guest on an episode of our program. Send your voice memo, your video file, your written memo to Jim at fansfirstpodcast.com. Please keep your submissions to no more than 45 seconds in length. We want you to be a part of our show. So glad you joined us for today's episode. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. I'm Jim Powell saying so long for now on fansfirstpodcast.com.
Stay tuned, stay passionate, and keep celebrating the sport you love. Visit us at fansfirstpodcast.com to explore more. Sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive updates, and follow the podcast on social media to join our growing community of sports enthusiasts. Your voice matters to us, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts and connect with fellow fans. See you next time.